Year 2025. The movie Jurassic World Rebirth crashed into theaters with all kinds of dinosaur scenes, beautiful scenery, a pretty good story, in our opinion, don't add us, and some mega. Dinosaur fans have to keep putting up with all that. Still, it is what it is, and it's cool either way. But recently, a new popular image, one that's adapted in actually Jurassic World Rebirth, is a semi-aquatic croc-snouted sailback carnivore capable of swimming like its close cousins. Not only is this one of the most unique visions for a paleoactive dinosaur we've seen, but this is also a great opportunity for us to speculate what would happen if us, or say a rival creature-making / genetics company, were to attempt at making a Spinosaur splice with crocodile and Sarcosuchus DNA, only for it to go horribly wrong. We won't reveal too much yet, but we can say it'll involve modifications to its jaws and crocodilians, and an out-of-left field change in its tail shape that also occurs in croc seen today, more or less. Enough with the Spino, we still got two other saurian beasts to cover. Dinosaur number 2, Iguanodon, We switched things up from carnivores to herbivores, and what better choice to tinker with dinosaur DNA, the plant eaters no less, than that of the iguanodon. One of the 3 original dinosaurs that made up the Dinosaurs group as originally classified back in the day. This species had numerous variants found on practically every continent, including Australia and Antarctica, believe it or not. Noted for its impressive thumb spike, bulky body yet strong build able to move at good speeds when needed, along with the ability to stand up on 2 legs, or running in a battery of teeth designed to chew through tough vegetation, it's no wonder these bird-hipped dinosaurs managed to conquer a wide variety of habitats. So, in our scenario, in making this a no-brainer choice, we imagined a what-if scenario that the same genetics company that took on the Spino also did the iguanodon, aiming twin hands and modify what's there, but tenfold, and failed. We won't mention our mutations to our iguanodon just yet, but we promise it'll be quite interesting, which leads to our last creature on the list for this video. Rounding out our soaring roster and coming in clutch with a back and tail full of spikes is not the Stegosaurus, but one of its lesser-known relatives. Dinosaur number 3, the Kentrosaurus, hailing from the Jurassic period like its more well-known cousin, but from the southern continent of Africa. Small in comparison, but no less dangerous if confronted by a predator, Kentrosaurus had several traits that made it distinct from its fellow Stegosaurians. One is pretty obvious. Its back and shoulders are quite spiky, effective at warding off theropods of the day, and a pretty useful tool when going against rival Kentros. The longest of the tail spikes, however, found on the tail region, giving it the best offense against predators known to inhabit the area. Although it was a plant eater, it's guaranteed that running into one of these creatures, especially on its bad days, would be a very painful time for you or anything else. And again, in this instance, in our genetics company scenario, we also imagined what if the same party that has taken on the iguanodon and the Spino decide to upgrade, if you can even top a major grade with this dino, and tried to make it into a war machine, only for them to get the Thagomizer end of the deal. With all of our creatures accounted for, let's begin with number 2, the creation phase. As we mentioned, we were saving the details of the mutations for the beast-making process. And well, here we are. So let's get started. Spinosaurs, due to having crocodilian aspects, genetics as per our scenario, in an aquatic nature will be exaggerated for the sake of this video. Tail, instead of being perfectly vertical, and having a uniform tadpole shape, will now have a fluke-like shape. It has been seen similarly in alligators and other croc members in real life when they haven't exactly come out right. And as for those mean lurking jaws, we'll be taking inspiration from Sarcosuchus imperator and some from real life, wherein the mistakes in the chromosomes led to an unfortunate result, let's just say. Next, for the iguanodon, we'll be tweaking the muscles, thumb spike, tail, and the head a little to make things unexpected, as mutation should be. Expect a bulky animal with more than just one thumb spike. And lastly, the Kentrosaurus will receive the biggest change in appearance overall, sporting a deterring spiky hind that will even make hedgehogs that went probe and normally like, "Hey, Sonic, get out of here! This is the wrong video." Sorry about that. As we were saying, our mutant Kentro will be spinier and built for more durability, along with a possible size increase. Now, with our beastly trinity all in place, let's move on to the design phase. I'll see you at the drawing desk to show you how to draw these beasts yourselves.
Okay, so now we're at the design desk, and we've just done the basics for our Spinosaurus. Anyway, here it is. So what we first did is that we gave this creature the body. This is the important part. You want to make a good base for your creature first, because if you have that down, then everything else will follow. Again, it's very much like laying the foundations for a good house. You build the bottom first, then you do the top parts later. So we do almost like a fat bean shape to give the outline of our Spinosaurus mutant. For the legs, we decided to do a sort of triangular kind of shape towards it, because the thighs are a bit more pronounced. on the Spinosaurus. We did the ellipse for the calf here. We did the ballpoint for the bottom of the feet, and we then did the outline for the feet here. This is off center, I know, but this is just to give us the rough shape of what we're going to be doing. We can do the adjustments later. For the arms and shoulders, we do an ellipse, sort of like this here. We're going to do a longer one because our creature is going to have a bit longer arms, again, part of the Mutant bit. And then we have a ball, a roundish part for the elbow joint. We're going to have a bowling ball pin shape for the lower arm. Then we almost have like a spade shape with 3 points to the side for the hands, as you can see here. For the neck, it's pretty simple. We have an upward curving sausage shape for this, just to make sure it is our Spinosaurus. But again, this is a mutant. We will definitely change this. They're just to lay down the base. And we create an oval shape for the head for the base, as you can see here. And then we did almost like a rectangular bit here, as you can see that, just to get the basics of the snout down and all that kind of stuff. And as for the spine, that's pretty easy. We can just create that to do this. I decided to go for almost like a thorn shape, sort of modifying the usual Spinosaurus shape. Alright, now for our mutated iguanodon. To start off with, we use a very chunky kind of circle for the body here, as we want this creature here to exhibit abnormal muscle growth. If you see any of the pictures of iguanodon, you know that these things are not insubstantial at all. These creatures were very bulky animals, so we wanted to make sure of that. But we also made the circle a bit wider. Usually with iguanodon, we'd only have the back like up to here, but with this, we wanted to keep in with the mutant, so we went wider here. For the legs, we made something that's similar to the Spinosaurus, but made a little wider, since these things also run on their hind legs. And a similar principle follows with the thigh bone, the top, the heel of the foot, and then the balls, same thing here. For the arms, we decided to make it a little bit more muscular. This is kind of like the bruiser mutant of the bunch, so we wanted to make sure that our hybrid has disproportionately large forearms. This is still not complete. It's still in the development phase after all. But this is basically what we have. And the neck here, we also have the same kind of principle. We widen it up out here, but we made it sort of like a thick, saucity kind of thing. Again, these are dinosaurs that did not come out right, so we wanted to make them look as distorted, but also cool at the same time. And for the head, what you do in an iguanodon is that you start at the widest point here, and then you kind of narrow it down to kind of like, basically like that. Sort of like a horse-like shape, but a bit wider towards the top, and a bit boxier as you get to the bottom, and just with a very horny beak kind of thing. And now for the third mutant. To do this, we decided to give our creature a very thick body set, since this is going to be the tank as just mentioned. So we just took the already roundish body and made it wider like this, and made the arms thicker. So what I did here is I made the ellipses that are otherwise made for the shoulders much wider and bigger. Same thing here. I also make these arm areas a bit thicker, and also the feet will be very interesting to say the least, because they are going to have to support all that muscle and weight. The tail will be made thicker, because even though this is the bruiser, it won't necessarily be the fastest striker, unlike its ancestral relative. So I just made this thicker here, and I just also made sort of like a general cylindrical shape here. I basically just sort of made a bit rounder here, using this as the base, and also just using this as the beak area. I just sort of looked at Kentrosaurus reference pictures from paleo illustrations and just sort of altered the beak. Again, these are hybrid dinosaurs, so they're not going to come out right, if you know what I mean. These spikes, don't mind them, I just sort of put them on as I went. but also made them misshapen as per the mutant thing. They're not going to be uniform anyway if it has genetic deformities. Alright, we'll get on with making these creatures.
Everyone, all dinosaur lovers and creature cravers, we present our first mutant dinosaur, brand new from the lab, inspired from and by Jurassic World Rebirth. Number 1 is the Malaspinus, measuring at 56 feet long, 24 feet tall, and weighing at 23 tons. This mutant has a strange fluked tail not unlike those seen on mosasaurs, but also like those seen on crocodiles with some tail deformities at the same time. Definitely a bizarre trait, but also you'll see that it has longer legs than its counterpart, which would be awkward for it since Spinosaur skeleton reconstructions portray it as having shorter legs instead of longer ones. The arms are also quite lengthy. But the biggest changes in appearance are the jaws. An unsuccessful fusion of the Sarcosuchus, Saltwater Croc, and Spinosaur DNA. This would give it a difficult time in catching prey, but not entirely impossible. Like the other dinos here, it would be surviving, but not thriving. So we'll keep this one in our riparian enclosure at Beastman Incorporated Reserves. And team, make sure the gates actually work this time. We don't need another... On to, the next one, shall we? Number 2 is the Distroto iguana, an iguanodon with hyper-defined and growing muscles, and with feet taken over by huge thumb spikes, which is handy for combat, but also unwieldy for everything else. The tail is designed deliberately to be larger than it should be. While iguanodons were known to have thick tails designed for endurance and stamina, we could see this being a problem as it would have to deal with its weight being shifted around too much, leading to it toppling over if needing to stop suddenly. And with all these little extra spikes coming out of the foot, it would have a tough time walking around comfortably. So we'll put this in the conifer forest enclosure for now, keeping it safe and living a healthy life. Well, things have actually been going fairly smoothly on this end. I'm sure things for the last one will... Oh, dear God. The final one on our list is the Inferna Echidno, the spiniest of all stegosauruses, and honestly, look at this poor fella. Do we need to say more? Having spikes and spines are generally a good thing, but having too many of these will reduce mobility, speed, and increase energy use, which means draining itself of precious resources it could use for other things. As a result, this will be the highest maintenance of our mutants, and though it will definitely survive, we'll keep a close watch because it definitely won't have the easiest time in life. But with all that said, we hope these 3 mutant dinosaurs for hypothetical Jurassic World inspired scenario have a good life here in our enclosures. We'll keep these lovable gone-wrongs in our care. Just hope for the best of them, okay, people? Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you like what you see. We have a lot more videos on the way. More beastly content, more video tutorials on how to draw these beasts, more fun info for you to enjoy, and stuff that dinosaur, cryptid, and kaiju and monster lovers will enjoy. Until next time, I'm Professor BH of Beastry Incorporated, wishing you well until next time.